Arizona is home to 14 different species of venomous snakes. But if you live here or spend time in the outdoors, you don't need to memorize all 14. All of the venomous snakes that you're likely to encounter only fall into two categories: rattlesnakes and coral snakes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to identify them and the different species that you might find here in Arizona. In one of my last videos, we looked at Arizona snakes that people often think are venomous, but that aren't. But that raises an important question. If those snakes aren't dangerous, which ones are? Let's start with the group of snakes that you're the most likely to encounter: rattlesnakes. The most obvious and reliable way to identify a rattlesnake is by the tip of its tail. That rattle is the feature that gives the snake its name. Some rattlesnakes have large, obvious rattles that are easy to see, while others may have very small rattles that are very difficult to notice. And occasionally, a rattlesnake may have actually lost its rattle, or a young rattlesnake could have a rattle that's so small that you can barely see it. Now, here's something that's surprising to a lot of people. A rattlesnake doesn't always even rattle. Sometimes they stay completely silent, especially when they're trying not to be noticed. And to make things even more confusing, some harmless snakes will even vibrate their tails to mimic a rattlesnake, even though they don't have a rattle. So the rattle is often the best clue, but it isn't the only thing to look for. Rattlesnakes are generally heavy-bodied snakes with heat-sensing pits between their eyes and their nostrils. When you combine these features together, you can usually tell that you're looking at a rattlesnake. The interesting things about Arizona rattlesnakes is that they don't all look alike. Some live in the desert, some live in the mountains, and some are so well camouflaged that you could walk right past them without even noticing. The Western Diamondback rattlesnake is probably the rattlesnake that most people think about when they think about rattlesnakes in Arizona. They are large, powerful snakes with the classic pattern down their back. And they have these distinctive black and white tail bands. This is one of Arizona's most widespread rattlesnakes, and the one that you're most likely to see. Like all rattlesnakes, they're not out looking for trouble. Most defensive behavior is their way of saying, "Please stay away." But not every rattlesnake looks like a Western Diamondback. This is the Sidewinder, and it might be one of Arizona's most unique looking of all rattlesnakes. Instead of moving like most snakes, Sidewinders use a unique sideways motion that helps them to cross loose desert soil. They also have these raised scales above their eyes that make them look like horns. And if you found this snake in the wild without knowing what it was, you might not even suspect that it was a rattlesnake. The next species is one that can be much harder to spot: the black-tailed rattlesnake. As the name suggests, one of its most notable features is its black or dark tail. And one of the things that makes this species so interesting is how different it can look depending on where it lives. They are often found in rocky mountainous areas and can blend in extremely well with their surroundings. This snake is a great example of why color alone is not always enough to identify a rattlesnake. And finally, here's one of my favorites: the speckled rattlesnake. This species gets its name from the many small spots or speckles along the length of its body. This helps it to blend in with its natural surroundings. In fact, their camouflage is so effective that finding one often feels like finding a snake that was hidden in plain sight. This is one of the reasons that learning about these snakes is so important. Many of them survive by avoiding detection, not by confronting people. But there is one venomous snake in Arizona that's distinctly different from all of the others: the Sonoran Coral Snake. Unlike rattlesnakes, it does not have the same heavy-bodied appearance. It never has rattles, and it can be much more secretive. The biggest clue can be its bright colored pattern. However, its bright colors can also be the reason why it's confused for other harmless snakes. Here's some of the other snakes that a coral snake can commonly be confused for. This is a long-nosed snake. This is a mountain king snake. This is a shovel-nosed snake. And again, here once more, this is a coral snake. The coral snake is the only one of these that is significantly venomous. And one important thing here to remember is to never pick up or handle a snake without the proper knowledge and experience. And while we're here talking about Arizona's venomous animals, it's worth mentioning one more. This is the Gila monster. It is one of only a few venomous lizards in the world. And unlike the snakes that generally inject their venom through specialized fangs, Gila monsters deliver their venom through a bite and chewing motion. They are slow-moving, secretive creatures that spend most of their time underground avoiding people. So although Arizona has a surprising number of venomous reptiles, recognizing them can actually be much more simple than people realize. When it comes to the snakes, there's only two groups of medically significant venomous snakes: the rattlesnakes and the coral snakes.